This show is considered one of the best cartoons ever created by Nickelodeon. This show only lasted for 3 years, but when it came on, it made an impact. It changed the way that Americans viewed cartoons. This show is arguably one of the best cartoons out there. It's one of my favorites, if not the favorite cartoon, right in front of SpongeBob SquarePants. This show is created by none other than Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Echo. I don't know why I sorry about that, man. Sorry about messing your name up. But this show, you know very well. I just did the movie review of it, and now I'm about to do something new I've never done before. I'm going to do a series review. I'm going to break this down because this show is too good to be left alone. I'm bringing back Avatar the Last Airbender. What's up, world? Welcome to a new series. This is a new series underneath the movie breakdowns umbrella. It's called Series Review. So I'm going to be watching shows I watched throughout the time, and I like it enough or I finish the show from start to finish. I'm going to do a series review of it, and The Last Airbender has really made me so mad that I had to go back and rewatch Avatar the Last Airbender just to see what was it that show did that made it so special compared to what the movie did, and why did we get so mad when the movie put what they did on the big screen and did a show that's really great, complete and utter.
You blew it! You had it all and you blew it!
Just didn't give it any justice. And I want to pretty much bring Avatar the Last Airbender onto the YouTube channel, onto the YouTube screen, my show, and say like, hey, this is Avatar the Last Airbender. This is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. The show was great, the writing was great, the storyline was great. Fire. And I guess I'm already giving my first thoughts of it, but in this series though, I'm going to have like a pretty much here's the organization. First thoughts, the season review, then I'm going to do my last thoughts as well as characters within the last thoughts, and then give it a grade. And then I'm gonna do season 2 and season 3. So any show I watch, let's say I do Game of Thrones, I'll do seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then give a final synopsis. I'm gonna do the same thing with this show too. I'm gonna give it a final synopsis and like a final review after reviewing each season individually. And because of that, I have my laptop here because each season is about 20 episodes long. And I'm gonna make sure I go through every episode. Now I won't give every episode the full details. I'll break it down bit by bit. But some episodes I might like say, like, oh, this episode you can watch and probably skip over. This episode you can watch and and think it's worth watching. You're like, I'm gonna show somebody this show. This episode is the episode I'm gonna show them. Now, when I first came across Avatar the Last Airbender, it was definitely 2005 when the show came out. It came out in 2005 and it ended in 2008. My first episode I probably watched, thinking back on, is probably the King Boomy episode when he meets Boomy, Aang meets Boomy for the first time in the city of Omashu. And that's probably my very first experience of Avatar the Last Airbender. And I was like, what is this show? This kid is throwing wind and this guy's throwing rocks. What is going on? And I was enamored. And ever since then, I've just watched the series over and over again. Now, season 1, to me, is not the best season. Now the show is great, and I'm saying the show is great, and I'm not trying to deny it. But season 1, compared to 3 seasons, it's probably the weakest of the 3. And I'm gonna break that down. So, what's the main gist of the show? The main gist of the show is about this guy named the Avatar. And the Avatar can be in all 4 elements. The elements are water, fire, earth, and air. Well, the Avatar disappeared. So then he just vanished. And over these 100 years he was gone, this nation called the Fire Nation pretty much rose to power and decided to take over the world. And the Avatar has now returned after 100 years. But now that he's back, the world is completely different. Only thing is with this Avatar, because if the Avatar dies, the cycle gets he gets reincarnated into another nation. So if he's an airbender, he'll get reincarnated into a waterbender, and so on and so on. Well, he didn't die. He pretty much legit vanished. Came back, and he doesn't have all the elements. So he only knows air. And now he has to learn all 4 elements and then try to save the world. And that's pretty much what Avatar the Last Airbender is about. It's about this guy's journey to pretty much become a master elemental bender. I don't know what the full thing, bender, a master bender? That sounds really weird to say. A master bender, and pretty much bring peace and order to the world. Now, that's the main synopsis, and the show breaks down into many more things that they can go down into that. Like he is the middle, the in-between, the liaison or the bridge between the spirit world and the normal world. And he's also, you know, this guy who's a teacher, and it's all these other things that goes into it, but that's the main gist. And this is our journey. We're watching Aang, who's the avatar in this series, watching him become a master bender and save the world. And when I first saw this, I was like, this is a pretty cool thing. I like this. This is awesome. I'm all in. I'm sold. Let's go. So I decided to rewatch the series because after watching that movie, The Last Airbender, and really just as a god-awful movie, I was like, okay, what went wrong? What went wrong? Why did the show do it better? And I was like, all right, let's go break this down. Let's go watch this show and see what happens. So let's go ahead and kick it off. This is season 1 review of Avatar the Last Airbender, and we'll start with episode 1. Pretty much the Boy in the Iceberg, I believe is the name of the episode called. I might not name every episode, but I do want to go over every episode. So episode 1, it sets up the whole show. Katara and Zakka are 2 water tribe members, 2 water tribes, southern water tribe, by the way. Katara is a waterbender, and her Zakka looking for fish. And Zakka, who at the time, he's a dick, he's a jerk at the beginning of the series, and he's saying misogynistic, sexist things to Katara, and Katara's going off on him. By her going off, it's showing that she's a waterbender, but she hasn't controlled her abilities yet, and she pretty much destroys an iceberg, and within this iceberg pops up Aang, who is frozen in an ice orb, ice spear. Katara breaks out Aang, and Aang pretty much wakes up and just ready to go. He's ready to have fun, he's ready to live life, let's do this. And this is the introduction of Aang and Katara and Zakka to each other. They get introduced to each other in the first episode, and Aang is like trying to figure out what's going on. Katara's enamored because she's like, this dude can earthbend, and he's doing all this stuff, he's an earthbender, and she's thinking maybe it's the Avatar. She's not really sure, but she heard the stories, like at least earthbenders haven't been around for over 100 years. And Zakka like doesn't trust him, stuff like that. He's kind of weird about it. Well, in the same episode, a guy named Zuko is searching for the Avatar. He comes across the light and the power of the spirit. He sees it. He's like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because when Aang came out of the iceberg, a giant light shot out of the air, a spirit light, pretty much. He was in his Avatar state. So Zuko, which I figure out what are the traits and how to find it, and Katara and Aang decide to go. I might do 1 and 2 together because it's like a 2-part episode. Decide to go into this abandoned Fire Nation ship, and they set off an alarm that caused Zuko to pretty much track him down. So Zuko tracks down Aang to the Southern Water Tribe, but Aang is kicked out. He's gone. And now that Aang is gone, Zuko is pretty much attacking the water tribe. Zakka sends up to Zuko, and it's like you see Zakka and Zuko fight each other for the first time, and Zuko just gives Zakka the hand. Zakka's not good. It shows that Sokka's not a well-trained soldier either, and Zuko just pretty much easily knocks him out. Then Aang comes back, saves the day. Zuko and Aang fight, but Aang like saw that the fire can pretty much hurt everybody. He's like, all right, I'll go with you. Take me to your ship. And Zuko's like, all right, I get to go home. So Zuko's been talking about he wants to go back home. He wants to go back home, and now that he got Aang, he can go home. Zakka and Katara go try to save Zuko, and while Zuko, and I say Zuko, sorry, go try to save Aang, and while Aang is inside the Fire Nation ship, he fights his way out, and it's a pretty cool fight. So you have Zuko and Aang fighting each other in the Fire Nation, trying to fight the Firebender, trying to fight Aang. Aang trying to fight off everybody, but gets back into the water, and then you see him turn into his Avatar state for the first time, and he is water bending. So now everybody's like, oh shoot, what's going on here? Aang expresses to Katara and Zakka that he doesn't know all the other elements, but he wants to learn water bending. And him and Katara's like, all right, we'll go to Northern Water Tribe. Sokka's like, I'm coming with you because Aang, you saved my life. I'm helping you out. But Aang's like, before we go to the Northern Water Tribe, we got to go to some places. And that sets up episode 1 and 2. Pretty much the first part of the season right there. Aang, now who's an airbender, doesn't know all the other elements, needs to go to the Northern Water Tribe to learn water bending. Katara doesn't want to be in the Southern Water Tribe. She wants to get out and experience the world and also learn water bending. So she wants to go up there. Sokka's like, hey, Aang, you protected me, and this is my sister, I need to protect her. I'm going with you guys and help. So they've already made it right there in the first 2 episodes that our journey is to go to the Northern Water Tribe to learn water bending. Boom. To find a master waterbender. And I like that. I like that because it's a very simple premise. There's not really much else to go into it. Yet you get the other elements like earth and fire, but the show does not gonna give you all that at first. It's gonna give you just a little bit, and they gotta go do that. But Aang, because he has been gone for over 100 years, which is also a natural thing, he's not one-minded. He's like, I'm gonna go do these other things I haven't done before and forever. Let's go do them. So he wants to go back home to the Southern Air Temple. He goes back home with Katara and Sokka and finds out that his whole family's been destroyed. His whole family's been murdered and killed, and he is legit the last airbender. And Katara and Sokka reveals it to him that, hey, yeah, the Fire Nation, did this 100 years ago to attack all the airbenders and wipe them all out. In the same episode, Zuko, who's the antagonist to Aang, he meets his own antagonist, General Zhao, Commander Zhao at the time. He meets him, and Zhao's like, what's going on here? And Zhao talks to Zuko about like why he got kicked out of the Fire Nation. His father doesn't care about him. His father doesn't want to see anything about him. But he gets told by Iroh and Iroh's crew and Zuko's crew that the Avatar exists. And Zhao's like, oh, the Avatar's back? Okay, you no longer should be doing this, Zuko. I'm taking care of business. And Zuko's like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna go find the Avatar, and him and Zhao gets into it. Zuko and Zhao gets into it and do an Agni Kai. So this is our first example of an Agni Kai, which is a fight between 2 firebenders. So we get to see an Agni Kai within the first 3 episodes, which is actually a pretty big deal to Zuko, because Zuko was burnt in an Agni Kai fight. I'm not gonna explain who he got burnt by, but right now we learned that he got burnt. We got burnt in the Agni, or he didn't talk about how he got a scar yet, but that the Agni Kai, his last battle against the Agni Kai, did not turn out well. I guess his last fight in the Agni Kai did not turn out well. So this episode, Zuko's taking on his antagonist Zhao, and actually beats Zhao in his Agni Kai, so that Zuko's a strong character. In the same time, you get the backstory of Aang and what has happened and the damage the 100-year war has caused in the show. That's episode 3. Episode 4, the Kyoshi Warriors. So Aang goes to another place that he hasn't been to before, and while he goes and do that, he gets pretty much jumped by him, Katara, and Sokka get jumped by a bunch of warriors. And Sokka, who is a very misogynistic guy still, thinks that a bunch of guys jumped him, when in fact it was a bunch of girls that jumped him, the Kyoshi Warriors, who are based off of Avatar Kyoshi, which is one of the earthbenders that was the Avatar, and actually the home island of Avatar Kyoshi, so one of Aang's past life islands, home place. And Aang's telling her, I'm the Avatar, I'm back. Sokka learns humility, and also learns that anybody can be a warrior and he should treat everybody equally, not just men and women, and think men are better than women. No, he think like, no, his mind changes in this episode. So within the first 4 episodes, he has a little quick character arc. And Aang, who has a crush on Katara at the time, keeps trying to find a way to get Katara's attention. Well, while they're hanging out, Zuko finally tracks him down because word of mouth got around the Avatars at Kyoshi Island. Zuko tracks him down, and Zuko and Aang gets into a battle, and Aang pretty much puts out the fire that the Firebenders caused in the fight, and escapes. which also showed the damage that fire can do. So the show has a good way of saying it, or showing it without saying the damage that fire can do. And you see it throughout the series, you see it throughout this season, until one of the episodes later in the season where they explain what's going on and why that certain things, why fire causes so much damage. But you see the damage that the Fire Nation is causing throughout the series. Episode 5 is one of my favorites. And the one episode I first started watching the show was King Bumi, the city of Washu, I think the name is called. Aang returns to the old city looking for a friend, and maybe he's around, but he's like, there's something gotta do here. And that's another thing with this series, this season 1, a lot of their issues is caused by like them just going towards the northern water trial, and they're stopping off at places, and organically things are happening to them as they're stopping off and doing things. Well, Aang decides to do a little play time, play around, and pretty much gets in trouble by the city's government. They meet the king by the name Bumi, who doesn't reveal who he is, and gives Aang these tests when you find out he's the Avatar. Aang goes through the tests, and one of the last tests is fight a battle, like a test of combat, something like that. Aang chooses Bumi, and Bumi's like, wrong answer. And pretty much gets buff as, he is buff. This dude gets like huge. And him and Aang go into a battle, and come to find out that Bumi's like, alright Aang, you're good enough, just be prepared that what you think might not be what it is. So think on your toes, think outside the box, and you'll be good. So Bumi, who's one of Aang's friends over 100 years ago, still around and still dropping knowledge and wisdom to Aang. Episode 6 is another big episode in the series. It really reveals the Earthbenders and how the Earth Kingdom is being affected by the war. So, and this episode is so good that they put it in the movie, it just wasn't done right. Once again, Aang, Katara, and Zakka are minding their own business when they hear noise, and they go check it out. It's an earthbender. He is bending earth, and this dude named Haru is his name. He's up here bending earth, and Katara and him become friends. Katara's like, hey, why are you hiding yourself? He's like, I can't. My whole family been taken. My dad and all the earthbenders in our kingdoms been taken to a concentration camp on a rig over the ocean. I don't know. I can't do it. And Katara's like getting to know who he is. And they're staying at Haru's place for a little bit. They get to know who he is. An old man gets trapped. Katara and Haru save the old man. They earthbend and waterbend the guy out of this tunnel. And then he goes to snitch on Haru. So Haru gets kidnapped or get taken by the Fire Nation and put in the concentration camp as well. Katara gets herself arrested so she can get into the concentration camp and get the Earthbender to realize, hey, you guys are strong people. You guys are strong. You guys can do this. Don't stand down. I've been told a story about the Earthbenders and how strong they are. Stand up for what you believe in. So Katara's an optimist, and she believes the best of everybody and literally thinks that everybody can overcome any challenge. And she promotes that in the show. And this episode is one of the episodes that show her motivation, show her be able to be a speaker and promote that, which is pretty cool. However, the Earthbenders like, we don't have any earth to bend. So they're on a rig above the ocean that's steel, all steel. But one thing is powered by is coal. So Katara, Aang, and Zakka, the Avatar gang, Team Avatar, what they call themselves, Team Avatar, was able to get the coal onto the top of the rig where all the Earthbenders are and say, hey, we have earth for you guys to bend. And the Earthbenders fight back and overtake the concentration camp. And this is the first episode I noticed that has a prison in it. A lot of Avatar the Last Airbender, I noticed throughout the series, a bunch of prison episodes throughout this series. And this is one of those episodes. But anyway, it's a pretty good episode. Really one of the worth to watch. I say episode so far, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they're worth the watch. Episode 7, The Winter Solstice Part 1 and 2. Episode 7 and 8, Winter Solstice Part 1 and 2, and they have a sub name underneath it. Episode 7, Aang visits another village, and he's come across a forest that, once again, it's kind of like the premise of this episode kind of shows off like every other episode where they're minding their own business, come across something and like, man, the Fire Nation is just really destroying this. So you see in season 1 how bad the war has affected everything, including wildlife. So because of this, a panda spirit is attacking a village nearby. And Aang goes into the spirit world to try to find a way to stop the panda spirit. He meets Roku's dragon, which is the last Avatar, and Avatar Roku tells him to meet him and the Fire Nation at his temple on the winter solstice. So Aang was able to figure out what happened. He meets the Panda Spirit, tells him, hey man, don't terrorize the village anymore. Your plants are growing back, the trees growing back, there's still life. You know the Fire Nation did this, there's still life, it's time, you will come back. Everything will come back over time. Panda Spirit sees like an acorn that was, or a seed I should say, that Aang found to show that life still exists. And pretty much let everybody come back. He kidnapped Zakka, that's why Aang couldn't really go. Zakka get kidnapped in this episode, so Aang couldn't just leave the village. He had to get Zakka back. And yeah, so the Panda Spirit released everybody and it's like, released everybody he attacked in the village and Zakka, and it's like, okay, cool. When it's a episode, Aang, Katara, Team Avatar has to go to the Fire Nation, which, pretty cool episode. Episode 8 is a really cool episode to watch because it's a lot goes on in this episode. So Aang and them are going to the Fire Nation. They got to get through a fire blockade by General Zhao. Also, Zuko is chasing them down, so they're fighting off Zuko. They get to the Fire Nation, get to the Fire Temple, and gotta find a way to get to Avatar Roku's statue before the winter solstice hit. And they go through a bunch of other things, and they finally get inside. And Avatar Roku explains to Aang what happened 100 years ago. Sozin Comet came, and this what gave the firebenders just unnatural firebending power. Like, these dudes destroyed a whole race of people because of it. So this episode puts a time cap on the series. Roku tells Aang, you have to be the Fire Nation, the Lord Ozai, Father Lord Ozai, before Sozin Comet comes back at the end of the summer during the summer solstice. If you can stop them before the comet comes back, you will save the world. So Aang now has to learn all 4 elements before the summer. So he has a year to learn it. Timestamp. So this episode is a really big episode because it gives that now. So now there's a timestamp on the show. They just can't lackadaisically go from the southern water trough to the northern water trough. They have to get there as soon as possible so Aang can learn all 4 elements before the end of the year. So good episode to watch. Okay, episode 9. So this episode I noticed the art style started to change a little bit. So Team Avatar goes into a village because they're out of supplies, and they go shopping and stuff like that. Well, they come across a pirate ship and kind of find out that a water tribe scroll from the Northern Water Temple or Northern Water Tribe was stolen by these pirates. Katara steals this scroll, but on this scroll has all different styles of water bending and different techniques that Katara and Aang can learn. So beginning the episode, Katara was trying to teach Aang how to be a water bender, and Aang was just picking it up easily, like that. Katara is struggling with it, so Katara steals the scroll, and in this episode there's a point where Aang and Zakka are like saying, Katara, you shouldn't have done that, and the animation, their faces, like their eyebrows or anything wasn't moving, just their mouth, and it was really odd because they was just standing there posing and nothing was moving. But then you look at other parts of the episode, like Zuko eyes will move when he was talking, Iroh eyes will move when he was talking, a bunch of other things. Zuko ended up finding the Avatar based on the fact that his uncle, Iroh, wanted to go to the pirate ship to see some stuff to buy, and he overhears about this girl and this kid with this monk that stole this water tribe scroll. So he teams up with the pirates. They pretty much track down Aang and Team Avatar. Big fight breaks out. Team Avatar gets away. Zuko and the pirates fight each other. It's a bunch of crazy shenanigans because Zakka tells the pirates that, hey, Aang's the Avatar. You can get more money for the Avatar than this water tribe scroll. And that's why the fight breaks out. But anyway, Team Avatar gets away with the scroll, and the pirates go off on their own way, and Zuko's like, alright, we gotta catch him up. By the way, Zuko has been following the Avatar throughout this episode, throughout the season, since their last interaction. And this is actually the first time I think they interact with each other. Yeah, first time they interact with each other since episode 4. In episode 6, Zuko ended up finding Katara's necklace while she was on the rig. Her necklace popped off her neck, and Zuko picks it up and holds on to it. And then in episode 7, Zuko is pretty much with Iroh, and Iroh gets kidnapped by some Earth Nation soldiers, and Zuko decides to put his search for the Avatar away and save his uncle. So he's been around, he's just never really been around Aang until this point. Episode 10, once again, Team Avatar's on their way camping, and they come across a Fire Nation camp. Start a fight with the Fire Nation camp, or the Fire Nation camp starts a fight with them, I should say. This guy named Jet and the rest of these freedom fighters come out of nowhere, saves them, and Katara is in love. She's enamored with this guy Jet, and Jet seems like a pretty cool guy, but in reality, he does not care about everybody. Jet just wanted to get rid of the Fire Nation. Everybody who's a Fire Nation, kid, woman, or elderly, is an enemy. And this episode shows that Zakka actually has a heart, because Sokka's like, no man, elderly, women and kids are not part of this war. No, we don't need to be fighting them. We don't need to cause them any harm. And there's an old guy who gets beat by Jet, and who gets beat up by Jet and the Freedom Fighters, and Sokka stops it. So Jet in this episode wants to flood this village, and Team Avatar has to thwart his plans, and Katara learns that, no Jet, you lost yourself. When the Fire Nation destroyed your family, this is not how you get revenge. This is not what vengeance is about. You lost yourself, Jet. That's horrible. And this is just a lesson that pretty much what Katara and Sokka could become if they really let their hate and anger fill them up. So Jet was pretty much like what they were. They both on the same side, but one had a different approach than the other. And show that Sokka really has a heart and doesn't think the war should be attacked by everybody. Or that everybody should not be fighting the war, but just like, no man, anybody who's an enemy gets attacked. Which I do like the dynamic there. It shows the two different sides. Episode 11, The Great Divide, is an episode you can really skip over, but really it's about just Aang and Team Avatar has to get two different villages across this canyon, and they got to get out of the canyon and survive, and a bunch of other shenanigans go on in this episode. Not really that important to the story, really. None of these characters ever come back in this season, anything. Episode 12, The Storm. This is a big episode. It's really a big exposition episode, but it's a big exposition episode, but it's done right. So Zuko and his crew are finally, his crew is finally over it. His crew goes at odds with Zuko, and Zuko fights one of the guys. And they talked about, the crew kind of has a talk, during dinner, why Zuko's this way, that way. And Iroh pops in. Iroh said, hey, well, this is what happened with Zuko. So you learn about Zuko's backstory and learn that he gets burnt by his father in an Agni Kai. So Zuko went to a meeting and heard one of the generals said they're going to throw a bunch of Fire Nation soldiers on the front lines and pretty much get them killed. And Zuko's like, that's horrible. You shouldn't do it to your own people. And he spoke out against the general, which in turn spoke out against Lord Ozai, because it was his game plan, his master plan, his battle strategy. So Ozai fought his son in an Agni Kai, and Zuko refused to fight his father and got the scar on his left side of his face. In the same episode, Aang runs into a villager who was like, I heard of Avatar, you ran away 100 years ago, you abandoned the world, and this is why the world is in the way it is. And Aang pretty much explains to Katara his backstory and why he ran away, how he didn't want to be the Avatar, and how he told he gonna get shipped off to another kingdom or air nomad temple to learn how to become a better Avatar. And he's like, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for it all. And actually, put me 14 years old when you learn that you're the Avatar, not 12. So they did it early because one, Aang was a master airbender, but also because the war, they sensed the war coming, they really wanted to get Aang ready for this. So Aang runs away, and when he goes away, he pretty much flies straight into him and Appa, which is Aang's pet bison, air bison. They run right into the storm, and Aang uses Avatar state to protect him and preserve him and Appa for the next 100 years. It's a really good episode, really worth the watch. And then the following episode is an even better episode, The Blue Spirit. So Zhao gets promoted to commander, or Admiral Zhao now at this point, and he had these archers hunt down Aang, and these archers capture Aang. So Aang gets captured. Well, during this time, Zuko's been following this General Zhao. He's been keeping his eyes on him, and been stalking him as this blue Oni mask by the name of the Blue Spirit. And when Aang gets captured, and he pretty much is in General Zhao's stronghold, Zuko breaks in and breaks Aang free. But here's the thing, they have to escape. So Zuko and Aang are now teaming up, and they're getting out of this stronghold, like through different kinds of escapes, such as like using Aang is pretty much using his staff as a propeller, and Zuko's hanging on to Aang, and he's like swiping down arrows left and right, and they're using ladders as walking tilts and kind of like stilting their way across the battlefield. It was a pretty cool scene. Like, this episode is an episode worth watching, and one of the coolest thing about it is that Zuko doesn't say a word. It's all through animation, all through expression of the character and body language, which I really love, and I love the choreography in this episode. This is a pretty cool episode. It's worth the watch. It's awesome. The Blue Spirit episode, and then on top of that, the ending is good too, because Zuko gets knocked out by an arrow. He gets knocked out, and Aang sees who's underneath the mask. He sees that it's Zuko, and he's about to leave Zuko there as General Zhao and his troops are about to capture Zuko, but he goes back and saves him. And at the end of the episode, Aang talks about how he's a friend as a Fire Nation member over 100 years ago, and he's like, you know, if things were different, you think we could have been friends? And he said it to Zuko, and Zuko looks at him and tries to capture him and runs away, and Zuko has a look of like he thought about it, which is pretty cool to see. Like, oh, this is something that could be. This could be something. At the time, we didn't know what it could be, but we was like, this could be an awesome moment. Episode 14 is a fortune teller. Once again, Aang and Team Avatar go to a village. They meet a fortune teller, and this episode was not really that important. It just pretty much kind of adds on to the love story of Aang trying to get Katara's attention. Katara is more enamored. She wants to know more about this fortune teller, and can she tell her future? And she tells Katara, the fortune teller tells Katara that her husband's going to be a strong, powerful bender. And this episode, Aang ended up battling a volcano, which is a pretty cool thing. I will mention that for a later season. Battles a volcano and beats the volcano. And in the same episode, Zakka goes, Aang's a pretty powerful bender. And Katara, the seed is planted. That's pretty much what's important with that one. Episode 15. Balto the Water Tribe. So, once again, Team Avatar is on their way. They come across a Fire Nation battle in the forest with Water Tribe members, and they find one of Katara and Sokka's father's teammates or crewmates, Balto, who's a friend of Katara's father, or Katara and Sokka's father, who pretty much kind of got left behind a little bit, and they run into him, and there's a moment where you think Zakka and Katara are going to leave Aang to go be with their father, and Aang's like, he got this mission you gotta do, but they're kind of ignoring Aang. They're leaving Aang to be by himself, and Aang's feeling hurt, he feels left behind, and he pretty much finds the word about the Katara and Sokka's father, but he's feared that they're gonna leave him, so he doesn't say anything. This causes the team to get a little bit of a tiff. Aang goes off on his own. Balto tells Katara and Sokka that, hey, no, he needs y'all more than we need you. Go help your friend out. So they go back and help out Zakka and Katara, but in the same episode, Zakka and why I keep saying Katara anymore? Zakka and Katara goes back and help out Aang, but in the same episode, Zuko tracks down Katara with her necklace that he took in episode 6. Yes, in episode 6, he tracks down Katara, and with this lady by the name of June and her pet, Shirshu, who can pretty much sniff anything around the world, is an excellent tracker animal and also paralyze people. So Zuko tracks down Katara with that. Appa gets into this battle. It's a pretty cool episode because Appa fights this Shirshu monster, and Team Avatar wins in the end. They get away. Episode 17, the Northern Air Temple. Aang is almost to the Northern Water Tribe, but on his way he hears the story of new airbenders, so he and Team Avatar go to Northern Air Tribe or Northern Air Temple, find that they're not airbenders but people who are using gliders and gliding around. This kid named Theo, who can't walk, is pretty much learning how to fly, and he learned, or he should say he knows how to fly using the glider, and show Aang that, hey man, you don't have to be an airbender to appreciate the sky. And in the same episode, Theo's father, the mechanist, that's what his name is, the mechanist, been creating new machines for the Fire Nation, and he said, I don't want to do it, I didn't want to do it, but I was forced to. And this episode is a unique episode because it shows computer animation a different way. You see the traditional art style and the drawing computer animation style, and then you see like these legit computer CGI tanks. And I think it's an episode where they're playing with the design and seeing how things might work out for future episodes. So it's always a jarring thing to see to me, because it's like you see the fire bending, or you said the water bending and the fire bending out of the tanks, but it looks completely different from what the design of the tanks is. So that episode always throws me off. But at the end of the day, Team Avatar fight off the Fire Nation from taking over the Northern Air Temple, and on top of that, the Fire Nation gets a hold of this new technology that the mechanics created, which was like a hot air balloon that Fire Nation can fight out of. So it's a unique episode. It shows progression of the Fire Nation and getting more weapons. At the same time, it shows that that hey, there's people who still can do things, and Aang was like, okay, people can enjoy the sky. So Aang kind of opens up into the idea that, hey, you might not be true airbenders, but you guys do appreciate the sky, and I respect you guys. So episode 18 is about Katara and Aang learning waterbending from Paku. So they finally arrived to Northern Water Tribe, and Aang and Katara finally meets the master waterbender Paku. But Paku's like, nope, tradition says that women gotta go learn how to be healers, and only men can waterbend and be soldiers. Katara's like, no, bump that. I'm going to be trained by you, and we're going to do this thing. Because Katara challenges Paku, and she loses, but it's a pretty cool fight. She loses though, and Paku sees Katara's necklace. So Katara get her necklace back in episode 15. She get it back from Zuko, and Paku finds the necklace on the ground. This necklace comes off a lot. Finds the necklace on the ground, and it's like, I made this necklace. And Katara's like, no you didn't, that's my grandma's. And Paku's like, I made it for the lady I loved, but she ran away. And Katara's like, my grandma was in love with you, but she ran away because she didn't like the tradition of the northern, I keep saying, yeah, Northern Water Tribe. One can say Northern Air Temple, but Northern Water Tribe. And what's so cool about this episode, that Katara showed that she got cojones, that she wouldn't step up to anybody, don't care how the ending might be, but she will fight for what she wants. And Paku sees this in Katara, and he decides to train her. Flip side, look at Sokka's story. Sokka meets Yue, who is the prince of the Northern Water Tribe. They become pretty much, they start dating each other. But Yue cannot date Zakka because she's already been arranged to be married for her Northern Water Tribe nation. And that's the nation's or the tribe's tradition. And Sokka's like, bump tradition, man. Why you gotta do that? But so it's tradition, and she's like, I'm doing it for my people. And Sokka's like, you're not dating your people, you're dating me. And if you're not happy, don't go through with this, but she has to. So they got the little bit arc there. The Fire Nation finally attacks the Northern Water Tribe because, one, they find out the Avatar is going there, and two, they're like, we can take out two birds with one stone. And General Zhao's like, or Commander Zhao, I should say, no, Admiral Zhao, get it right. He said that he knows how to defeat the Water Tribe. So Zhao learned how to defeat the Water Tribe by going to this library that we find in later season. Goes to the library and he learns where the moon and water spirits, moon and ocean spirit are at. They're in the real world, and he's like, I know exactly where they're at. And he finds them, and he kills the moon spirit, which causes the sky to go black. The Water Tribe don't have as much power, and the Fire Nation start taking over. Iroh's like, this is horrible. Why would you do this? Because Iroh's been joined Zhao, because Zuko is currently missing. I'm gonna get to that. But anyway, Zhao decides to kill the moon spirit and runs away after he does so, thinking that the war is over, they're about to take over. Well, while this is going on, let's rewind a little bit here. In episode 18, Zuko actually gets bombed by General Zhao. He has the pirates from previous episodes come back and set a bomb in Zuko's place, and he gets blown up. He survives, and he and Iroh stow away onto Zhao's ship. Iroh pretty much has been said he's going to escort or be there with Zhao to pretty much watch over everything to see how things go. And Zuko finds his way into the Northern Water Tribe to capture Aang and then run off. Well, he does capture Aang, had a pretty good fight with Katara, and he finally captures Aang, runs off. Aang is in the spirit world, so he gets captured. He goes in the spirit world to learn how can he beat the Northern Water Tribe, or where is the origin of the moon and water spirits, if we trying to figure out where they're at. He finds out where they're at from the spirit world, and by the time he gets back, he realizes that, oh, I'm missing from my body. Zuko has me. Zuko doesn't get far. He ends up losing to Katara again, and they capture him. Now, back to Iroh and Zhao. So Zhao, like I said, killed the moon spirit. Aang merges with the water spirit and fights the Fire Nation off, because he's like, no man, it's not over. Yue, who has the spirit of the moon spirit within her, which is weird to say, the spirit of the moon within her, because as a kid she was born pretty much as stillborn, and her father put her into the water, and the moon spirit gave her energy to Yue. Yue's like, I can get my energy back to the moon spirit to bring back the moon. She does that, she dies, so her and Sokka no longer a thing. She becomes the moon spirit. Sokka loses his first relationship. Aang is ripping stuff apart with the ocean spirit and destroying the Fire Nation, and Zuko escapes after being captured by Team Avatar and fights Zhao in a pretty cool fight. And then it ends in a stalemate because Zhao gets captured by the moon against the water spirit and pulls him into the water. And there you go. So the Water Nation end up winning. The moon spirit is back. Zhao is dead. The Fire Nation retreats. Iroh and Zuko pretty much goes off on their own. And Team Avatar, Gary go off on their own. Gary goes to the Earth Kingdom. And that is the end of season 1. On top of that, you do get the emergence of Azula. At the end of it, Lord Ozai says that, his uncle, Azula's uncle and brothers are traitors, and I need you to capture the Avatar. And so you finally get to see Azula at the end of season 1. And you're like, oh crap, things about to get real. Now, things I love about season 1. The music was great. I didn't like all of the animation at certain points, like episode 1, 2, and 3, the animation is really cartoony. It's more of a different style, and then around episode 9, 10, and 11, it shifts, and the animation starts to become a little more serious and a little more like anime style versus like a cartoony style in the first couple of episodes. So that's one thing I didn't like about it, but I didn't like some of the animation shifts, but then over time it progressed and gets better. The music was great with the season. The music is always great. The story is great. It's pretty much them, literally, it's a basic story. Them going to the Northern Water Tribe to learn something, but on their way to the Northern Water Tribe, they're dodging the Fire Nation and then helping out places, not because they were intending to help, but because that it just happened. They was mind their own business and they get put into situations. Now, as far as characters and characters development within the season, Aang, you get to know more about him, get to learn more about him, but I feel like he didn't really have a character arc. He didn't really grow from episode 1 to episode 20. He is still the same goofy kid. He still has an honor code. He's still gonna fight for things he loves, and he's not really going to he didn't really have a shift in his personality. He's still the same guy. I think he did learn more abilities in order to fight the Fire Nation, but also do like that he's a pacifist, so he thinks of ways to try to resolve situations, and he's also not gonna really step up to fight for things. Like, he's not the first one to be like, yo, we need to stop this right now. And he's like, no, I'm gonna see how things play out, and then I might step in if things get out of hand. Also, he doesn't eat meat. He's vegetarian. So that's one thing that the show talks about all the time. Like, hey, you want some meat? Because Zakka loves meat, and he always trying to offer Aang something to eat. Aang's like, no, I'm good. Appa, we're gonna talk about Appa. He's Aang's pet. He's a flying bison. He's a little comic relief to the series. He's just the mascot of the team, and he jumps in from time to time and helps them escape. They pretty much use him as transportation to get from place to place. And there's episodes where Appa is tired and doesn't want to do stuff that causes them to get in situations, and then there's time when Appa comes in and saves them. So he's a transportation to get from point A to point B. That's how they get from the south to the north, is using Appa. Momo's another comic character. He's a comic relief character. He doesn't say much. He is a flying lemur. A lemur bat. It's a lemur. I don't know what the exact name for him is, but he is just comic relief. He does things, and he also plays a part in certain episodes too. Then you have Zakka, who he does have a little bit of a character arc in episode from 1 to 4, where he doesn't become misogynistic and stop not being as sexist, and then with the episode with Jet, and then towards the end, he's also more like, hey, let's listen to what the group has to say versus try to be all macho. So there's the guy that UA is supposed to get married to, pretty much a super like stereotypical macho douchebag guy, and Sokka's like, no man, you're gonna lose if you go approach the Fire Nation that way. And you try to explain it to him, and the guy doesn't listen, and pretty much loses to the Fire Nation, while Sokka becomes bodyguard to UA. Katara, she in the series, in the season, doesn't really have much of a character arc either. She doesn't really change. She's the same way from day 1 to the end she is to the end of day 20. Like, she's still the optimist. She stands for what she believes in. She's gonna fight for what she wants. She's gonna help out her who's in trouble. Like, yeah, she is pretty much the same character as well, but she's also a strong character and character you can get behind. Zuko, he is the antagonist. He doesn't really have much of a character arc either. You learn about his background, because it shows like a tale of two. It's a tale of two people. It's Aang's side of it and Zuko's side of it. So you learn more about him throughout the series, about this season, but he doesn't really change yet. He's pretty much the same guy since episode 1, trying to find the Avatar and trying to hunt him down. Then you have Iroh, who he's comic relief, but he's there. He's there to have fun, and he's pretty much Zuko's laid back uncle. So Zuko's really angsty and super like teenage angst and just always up, always going. And Iroh's more laid back and chill and relaxful and peace. So they're opposite tracks there, and that's what makes them a good team. And then you have General Zhao, or Admiral Zhao. He is just your bad guy. He is just your antagonist, your bad guy. Doesn't really do much. Like, he doesn't really have an arc himself. You just learn that, oh, okay, he's a bad guy. He's hunting down Zuko. Trying to beat Zuko and hunt down the Avatar. And I missed an episode, guys. I just thought about that. Episode 16. Episode 16 I missed. Jar Jar episode. And this episode is actually a pretty important episode too. It shows that, and actually it explains the process of how the Avatar should learn the other elements. So Aang wants to learn Firebender from this guy named John the deserter. He wants to learn Firebending, and in this episode, he gets taught firebending by John after Avatar Roku steps in, because John was not going to teach Aang. John was going to ignore Aang. This is actually another good episode. I can't believe I missed it. But John was going to ignore Aang, push him away. He's like, you're not ready yet. You haven't learned water. You haven't learned fire, or earth. And you haven't learned fire. He said, water, air is free. Air is free. Air is free, do whatever it wants. He breaks it down like air is free, does whatever it wants. Water is free form, but a little structure. It's still free, but it's structure. It's a flow, it's a movement. While earth is steady and strong and rock, and fire is power. You cannot learn power without learning how to be steady and be able to flow and use your movements. And Aang said, no, I'm ready for it. So Aang ended up learning firebending, and he actually burns Katara. He burns Katara. So this episode, Aang, I guess it is a character arc here for Aang, because he becomes more terrified of fire. And he's like, I will never firebend again, because I don't want to hurt the people I love. That's something that Aang keeps throughout the whole season, that he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And he ended up hurting Katara. Katara learns her hand gets burnt, but she can heal herself by using water. So she learns a technique there where Aang's like, no, I'm not going to do this. And Aang fights Zhao in this episode, and Zhao destroys his whole ship And Aang tells Zhao, this fight is over. And Zhao's like, no, it's not. You even never threw a punch. How can it be over if you never fought, if you never got started? And Aang's like, you don't want to burn your own ships. He proved to Zhao that he needs to control his fire. Zhao doesn't control his fire, and therefore he is being destructive. That's what John Zhao was trying to teach Aang. You have to be able to control fire. You just can't let it go. Okay, you let it go, you're going to hurt people you love and be destructive. And that's a pretty cool episode that's worth watching. I can't believe I missed that. But yeah, so that was Zhao. And Zhao doesn't change that. He still stays the same way, stuck in his ways. But those are the main people of this season. I'm not talking about Roku yet, because Roku has more details, but he's kind of like a mentor to Aang at certain points. Alright. Grading time. I'm going to grade Season 1 of Avatar the Last Airbender a solid B. And the reason why I'm grading a solid B, because some of the animation was kind of off at certain points. The storyline is great. Storyline is great. The exposition is great. How they explain stuff is great. But the animation in certain scenes was off. Like episode 17, the animation is not that good at certain parts, but they're playing around with stuff. Episode Episode 9 animation is not that great with the water scroll, and episode 1 and 2, you know, they're the pilot episodes. They still got stuff to work on there and clean up some things. So yes, that's why I give it season B, or give it a B for those things. But other than that, it's a good season. It's a good season. It's worth watching. The episodes you definitely should watch. I'll make a note of it right now for you guys. Definitely should watch episode 1, 2, 3. Check out 4, 5. You can skip over 7, 8 is worth to watch, 9 is worth to watch, 10 you can kind of skip over. Naturally you need to watch 10. Watch 10, 11 definitely skip, 12 is worth to watch, 13 is definitely worth to watch. That episode really sets the season up, and that was one of the big things from this season. 6, I mixed over 6. 6, watch 6. 14, 15, 16 is worth to watch. And 18, 19, 20 are worth to watch. All the other ones you can skip over. They really don't add much to the story. They add bits and pieces, but you're not going to miss out anything. If you're like, I didn't watch the episode, what am I going to miss? Yes. But you just want to watch the whole series, knock out the whole series yourself and the whole season. Alright, that's my review of Season 1, Book 1 of Avatar the Last Airbender. If you saw it, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Thank you guys for watching this episode's a movie breakdown series review. Come up with a better name. I know it's long, but I'm going to buy episode because I really want to break it down and talk about the episode and my thoughts on those episodes. But yeah, Season 1 was a fun season to watch. It just had a few animation things that was kind of like with it, but the characters didn't really have much growth besides Zakka, but they're regular characters. You're learning more about them. They're going through their adventure. So, and the first season should not be the greatest thing either. The first season should be the introductory season. You should get to know about the characters, and then as the series progresses, characters should go through some things. So, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this being in Season 1. I'm fine with that. And the timestamp, you're getting the background, the origin, setting up for the next couple of seasons here. So, yeah, a B it is. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Check out Avatar the Last Airbender Season 1 and tell me what you guys think of it. And thank you guys for watching this episode. See you next time. Keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell a friend about my series. Tell a friend about Grind Towards Success. Tell a friend about the movie breakdown series. If you really like these episodes, I really appreciate it. It means so much to me. It means so much. I can't tell you how much it means. Like it's like I'll be really grateful you just told a friend and share and subscribe to the series. And thank you guys for watching this. Also, if you want to follow my journey outside of YouTube or Facebook, you can go to my Instagram page and you can follow me on my Instagram page at Ali_Zakka. It's right here. Put it right here in my face. That way you're like, where's his face at? Well, it's right behind the Instagram logo. Yeah, but you can follow me on my Instagram page. And also, if you want another episode of Grind Towards Success or movie breakdowns, you can watch the episode of Grind Towards Success right here. You can watch the last episode of movie breakdowns right there. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. See you guys next time. Keep being awesome.